$5 a month.
I am
with the
hitting the
guide.
live button. We're live.
Oh, sorry.
Didn't want you to say anything crazy,
No.
just in case, because you do that.
No.
You know, you're crazy. So we should be live here. Let me double check and make sure that we're actually live on the interwebs.
We are.
And it looks like we are indeed live. And 7,000 people already listening in 2 seconds. That's amazing.
That's amazing.
We are so popular. All right. Well, today, folks, for those of you joining from the behind the scenes, we're doing the lovely little podcast that we call Video Marketing Madness, as noted by the slip of paper behind Steve's head that was printed on the other direction, on the Oki Data OkiMate 20 printer for the Commodore 64. And it's very lovely.
Yes.
So for those of you who remember that. And today we're going to be talking about YouTube cards and end screens because they can be pretty useful. Maybe. Kind of.
Yes, that's
Somewhat.
a good one to do.
Yes. I only hold reservation because I liked their old system better, but that's okay. So for those of you here, all right, I see a lot of people here, and Patrick says, yes, you are. Patrick, holy cow. Patrick Dylan Hendricks, I have not seen your name in a bit. Hope all is well. I'll have to catch up with you pretty soon and see what's going on. That's exciting to see him on there. So for those of you joining us live, this is the behind the scenes. You're going to get to see how things are done. We model this after Imus and Howard Stern showing behind the scenes of a radio show, but with a podcast. And this is where Steve points his finger.
Video Marketing Madness.
Video Marketing Madness, indeed. So, all right, with that, we're going to talk about YouTube cards and end screens. So, Steve, are you ready?
Indeed. I'm ready to rumble.
All right. Then for the dozen in attendance and the 2 dozen around the world, let's get ready to roll this thing. Here we go. In 5 and 4 and 3, 2. On today's episode of Video Marketing Madness, we're going to discuss YouTube end screens and YouTube cards and why they can help you with your video marketing. And today's episode is made possible by the good, fine folks over at Thumbnail Blaster. Thumbnail Blaster is an amazing tool that allows you to create thumbnails for all of your YouTube videos quickly, easily, with beautiful templates, custom templates that you can create. And the best part about it is you can do everything from within the software. So you don't even have to go to YouTube. You load your YouTube channel, and then every time you need to make a thumbnail, you go in there, you pick the video you want to make the thumbnail for, you press a couple buttons, boom, you hit publish. You don't even have to go back to YouTube. It automatically puts it on that YouTube video, and it even does split testing. So if you want to know, does the thumbnail with the blue background outconvert the thumbnail with the red background? You can find out with Thumbnail Blaster. So if you're ready to start making thumbnails, and you should, and Steve, we know why they should, right? Do you remember why they need to do this?
Because YouTube said that's one of the best ways of getting on the recommended videos.
Yep. According to the guy that actually heads up the department that does all the recommended videos, he said 99% of what they choose to recommend is based off of the title and the thumbnail. So thumbnails are that important, which I guess technically that means 48.5% each, but basically those are the two things that they look for, the thumbnail and the title, and then they decide what to recommend. So you want to be recommended, you got to have a good thumbnail. So get out there and make it with Thumbnail Blaster. You can check it out right now along with all of our bonuses at raythevideoguy.com/Thumbnail Blaster. That's Thumbnail Blaster, all one word. And with that, Steve, are we ready to hit that funky music?
Let's get down to get the funky array.
He's Ray
All right.
the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy.
And it's the radio show about Video Marketing Madness with Ray the Video Guy. Still don't have that logo for up there yet that says govmm.com.
govmm.com.
It's got all the places to subscribe as far as the podcatchers go, and then all our social media. And Thumbnail Blaster, I just use that to put a bunch of thumbnails on already existing videos, and it worked great for that. It made my job a lot easier.
That's where it really really shines. And the best part is, if you don't have access to a channel, you can still make your thumbnails and just save them as JPEGs and upload them normally, and it works very, very well. And I don't know if you've played around with it, Steve, but it actually has AI, artificial intelligence. So in theory, when you do a video, or you've got a video in there and you go to do a thumbnail, it'll figure out, oh, the title of this video is, how to eat clamshells. And so on the thumbnail, it'll automatically pull that and make the thumbnail say how to eat clamshells. And the answer with that is ground up very finely. Otherwise, you will break your teeth.
One thing I didn't know about, speaking of clamshells, and now we're getting way off topic, they're up and down the East Coast are clamshell middens that are like 100 feet deep and 1,000 feet wide, and 1,000 by 1,000 by 30 or something like that. I didn't know that.
Yep. Some of those islands out in Rhode Island and Narragansett Bay and all that, they're just, the edges of those islands are just clamshells.
Clamshells.
Crazy.
And what happened was ancient man, like going back 5,000 or more years ago, they'd get the oysters and then throw them in a garbage dump of clamshells.
Yep. And you know what they use those shells for now, right? This is science time with Stephen Ray. Close. They use it. Well, they use it for a few things, but one of the things they use it for is for pest control. So they create what's called diatomaceous earth, and you can buy that at like your local Home Depot. You can make like a you can use that for pest control. You can also make a really good cleaning agent when you mix that with pure distilled water. And if you've got like oil stains on your driveway, you can actually suck the oil stains out of there.
That would make sense. Now, a lot of these I was reading are now protected, so they don't want people getting in there and digging them up.
All right, so enough about clamshells. Now that we've talked all about that, let's talk about something a little bit different than clamshells, but totally related. And that is YouTube cards and end screens. So if you've got a video about clamshells, you'd be using an end screen or a card. So there's our little transition. That's what we call a segue, folks, a segue. And I'm not talking about the little thing you ride down the street as a mall cop. I am talking about a segue between one thing to another. All right, so I wanted to do an episode about the end screens and the cards because it's a tool that oftentimes gets kind of ignored. I don't think people use them nearly as much as they should, and that includes me, by the way. I've tried to get a lot better with it, and not only for me but for my clients. Now, the problem that I have most of the time is with a lot of my clients, I'm dealing with videos they've already created, they've already uploaded to YouTube, so we're out of luck there. But for any new stuff, I like to add end screens to it, and I even had one of the lawyer clients the other day go, well, the video looks good, but I think we can get rid of that big empty space at the end that just has my name at the top. Like, you mean the end screen? So I had to show him what happens when we actually upload it and put the end screen stuff on there. And then he got it, and he's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, that's better than smacking him in the back of the head and calling him an idiot. So.
That is true. So, yeah, the end screens, for me, I like end screens. Cards, they're useful. I like them. Hopefully, Hopefully the cards will start to get a little more traction. Of course, I've been saying that for, 3 years now, somewhere around there?
I'm trying to think of some effective uses I thought of them, but a guy will be, I've seen videos where a guy's talking about something, and if you want to know more on that, click on the thing up here.
Yep, and that's what I used to do in a lot of my videos. I'd be like, hey, you want to learn more? Click on the eye icon over here. And then, of course, I'd have to make sure that I was in the position afterwards that it actually was pointing at it. If you've got a very direct video where you're really kind of interacting with the audience, you can literally say, hey, be sure to click here. Now, the other thing that you can always do is you can add graphics to a video that points it out. So if it's something a little more serious, you could put something in the corner there that says, be sure to click here to get our coupon or to learn more about this or to pick this up. And so that's some of the things that we've done as well is to literally call that. Because when you do a YouTube, now I should probably take a step back here. If you don't know what YouTube cards are little graphics that you can create that you can add to your video, but you can't see them. Unless you get somebody to take action first. Now and that's on the desktop, by the way. On a mobile device, well, on certain mobile devices, it actually shows up under the video as a card. But if you've ever watched a YouTube video and maybe you saw like it's a circle with the letter I in it, and it's up in the top right-hand corner of a YouTube player, that's what's called the info cards. And if you click that little I, then a drawer or a sidebar pops out that has these little graphics in them. And these graphics could be a video, they could be a playlist, they could be a link back to your website. So there's a few different things that you can do with that. And it allows you to drive traffic to where you want. So for instance, in the old days, we used to have what were called the annotations. And the annotations were great. The only problem with the annotations is they didn't work on mobile. So anything that was mobile, it didn't work. But on desktop, they were fantastic because what you could literally do was when you were editing your video, you could put a button that says, click here, and it could be animated and everything else. And inside of YouTube, you could actually draw a box around that button and make it live. And so when the video literally had a box that popped up and said, click here to learn more, somebody could click on that like a button and be taken to a website or to another video or to a playlist or what have you. And unfortunately, they discontinued that. Now, one of the reasons they said they discontinued it was because it didn't work on mobile, which was true, kind of, because they now do end screens, which are kind of the same thing, and they work fine on mobile. So, therefore, they could have made those annotations work on mobile if they had chosen to do so. And one of the other issues, too, was a lot of the stuff worked well on, you could get certain things to work on mobile if you're using the YouTube app. But if they were going from, the actual web browser, then certain things didn't work. And part of the reason was because when you play a video on a desktop, you're literally just opening up, a little window on your desktop there that has a player on it. When you do a mobile phone, the mobile phone actually does the displaying of the video. And so therefore, it's the phone that controls that video versus the website. And so it's literally using the phone's video player to pop that up there, and they don't have control over a lot of that. And so that's the problem that we had with the annotations there. But the annotations were great, and they drove a lot of traffic. We did a lot of tests with those, and they did really, really well. Nowadays, we don't have that. We have the cards, so you can kind of use the cards the same way. Again, if you're talking directly to your audience, you can literally say, click the card here. And again, that drawer will open up. It'll have a graphic. Now, the great thing about those graphics, and this is something that actually is better than annotations, is those graphics can be swapped out. So, for instance, let's say you are a bakery, and you've got this video, and you say, hey, be sure to check out our latest special offers. And they open up that card, and that card could literally be take 10% off in the month of May when you visit our shop. May ends, now you could have June's special, which is come in and buy a bagel and get a second bagel for free. And then July, you could do a different one, and you can swap these out. So in that regard, it actually is a little bit better. But until people really realize that those cards are there and know how to use them, makes it a little tough. So again, you have to kind of, bring people's attention to it. Yes, Steve.
How did that test for you? What kind of results did you get? I'm assuming you did those on your affiliate videos.
For the annotations back in the day?
No, the cards where you're saying, "Hey, go up here," and you were pointing them out and showing them what to do.
It seemed to work okay when you did that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that's going to kill the flow of a lot of videos. So that can make it difficult. If it's a video for a lawyer or a doctor or a dentist, you might do that little graphic there in the corner that, what you could do is like literally you could make a circle in the corner that goes behind it. So what I would do is grab a screenshot of the YouTube player. And now the problem is depending on the size of the player it's going to change this, and that's an issue. But what you can do is just put a graphic that says, click the I icon to learn more or to get our latest deal or something like that. I was going to say put a colored circle behind it so it stands out more, but the problem is the I icon is always the same size, and so if they're looking on a full screen player, for instance, that circle's not going to be around the I anymore. And if it's on a smaller one, it's still not going to be on there, so you may not want to do that. Arrows may not work perfectly because it's going to move a little bit based off of that. So I would just put a graphic around there. Now, the one thing to know about cards is they do have what's called a call to action. And so the way cards work is you can set up to 5 cards on your video. And although the eye icon is always there, you can always have the eye icon there. They can always click on it. They can always click on your cards. YouTube's only going to bring attention to the card when you tell it to and for a certain period of time. So, for instance, if we're going to do 10% off your next visit to Joe's Bakery, and we set that up to be at the 1 minute mark of the video, then what'll happen is the eye icon will be there, but there won't be any attention brought to it. But at that 1 minute mark, what's going to happen is a little banner is going to come out, kind of like a streamer out of the eye icon that'll say, take advantage of our latest offer or whatever it happens to be. And that draws attention so you can click on it and then it opens up. And then if you do another one, it'll do that next call to action there. But the reality is if you're going to put something in there yourself that literally says, click the eye icon to get our latest offer, you really don't even have to do that. Normally people do the same one 5 times, so it draws attention 5 different times. But if you put your own thing on there to tell people, then you don't have to do that all the time, and it can be a much more useful tool for that, is to make sure that you draw attention to the YouTube cards that way. And then, of course, we've got our end screens. Now, end screens are similar to the annotations that we talked about earlier, kind of. So what an end screen does is for the last 20 seconds of your video, you can feature a link back to your website. You can feature another video or a playlist, a subscribe button. And so what you want to do is in your videos, you want to make sure that you've got somewhere to put that end screen information, because what will happen is if you've just got, for instance, the video for the bakery, and the guy in the video is still talking, and you decide to put an end screen while he's still talking, well, that stuff is going to come up and cover his face, or it's going to, be on top of him talking. So what tends to work really well is either getting very creative with this. So for instance, maybe in your video, you could have him still talking, but have him, maybe a wider shot of him standing to one side so that your information can be on the other side of the page, so it's not covering him. Or what I like to do, because most videos are not shot specifically for that, is I will just add a 20-second end screen to the video. So for instance, the lawyer that we were talking about earlier, I just had a background that he uses for a lot of his stuff on screen for 20 seconds with his name and phone number at the top and his website at the bottom. And then in the middle, you can place a link to another video or multiple other videos. You can put a subscriber link, and if they have this enabled, you can put a link back to the website. Now, the downside of this is you need to hit certain requirements before you can do the link back to the website. And those requirements are like 4,000 hours of watch time and 1,000 subscribers. So in a 12-month period, you have to have 4,000 hours of people watching your videos. So if you've got an hour-long video, you got to have 4,000 people that watched it. If you've got a 5-minute video, et cetera, do the math. And multiply that times however many videos you have. So if you got 100 videos that are, whatever length, you add that up, and that's going to give you your 4,000 hours. Now, the sad part is you have to keep that 4,000 hours up. If you drop off and you're not doing 4,000 in the last 12 months, they can take that away from you again. So for instance, let's say you did really good on month 1 and you did it all the way good to month 12, but on month 13, you drop way down. Well, now your 12 months are the last 11 plus this month that you did poorly on. They could take that away from you. So you have to keep that up. So it always has to be over the last 12 months, you've had 4,000 hours. So if month 1 drops off, you better have enough in the next month to make up for that so that it stays 4,000. Now, how quick are they going to pull that? Who knows? They may not at all. For people that have annotations with links in them, they still work. all these 2 years later, and they still do work if you had them in there already. So are they going to pull that from you? They say they will. Who knows? I haven't really experienced anybody doing that. Apparently Siri thought I was talking to her because she turned on there, so that was kind of funny.
Oh.
Welcome to the show, Siri.
Yeah.
But
hi, Siri.
The bottom line is you just have to, you have to keep that channel going. Best way to do that, run YouTube ads. You can get 4,000 hours worth of views just by running ads. You don't have to run a ton. If you're running ads for $5 a day, you're going to get plenty of views that way. And because you're running ads, you're going to get a lot more people that are interested in your stuff, which can help to grow the channel anyway. So that's a great way to be able to make sure that you keep those hours up, keep that subscriber count up, make sure you get that 1,000. You really have to push it on the 1,000 because it can be tough. If you've got a channel for a plumber, it's hard to get 1,000 people to legitimately, I'm going to say that, legitimately like that channel. That's not an easy thing to do. So you got to really work at it. But you have to have those 1,000. You have to have 4,000 hours of watch time throughout the year. And that's going to give you the ability to put in the end screen links back to your website. And by the way, that's the same thing with the cards. The cards will not allow you to link back to your website until you've reached those milestones. Or if it's an old enough channel that it already did, you may get lucky and still be able to do that. So we've found that with a few of our clients that have had YouTube channels for a long time, but they don't meet those requirements, but they still have access to do that. So highly recommend that you work on that. The end screens, again, the big thing about those, 20 seconds. So if you can, put an actual end screen on the video itself before you upload it so that it's nice. Make sure it's exactly 20 seconds so that you can use as much as possible. And then you're going to go into your video. So once your video is uploaded, there's a button for cards. There's a button for end screens. I would start off doing the end screens first because that's something that you can just go in and do. You don't have to prepare with the cards. You have to have a graphic that you've made. So start off with the end screens. Make sure you put the end screen on the video, upload the video, go to your end screens, and then inside of there, you'll see a timeline. So you'll see your video, and underneath it will be a timeline, and you'll see the last 20 seconds are kind of marked off. And so you go to that part of the timeline in that 20 seconds, and you go in and you hit new, and you can add in your website if you've got enough. It'll say it. It may tell you can't do it, depending upon whether you meet the requirements. A video, a playlist, a subscribe link, and each of those things you can add into the end screen. So you can have 2 videos and a subscribe link. And I think you can only have 4 things on the screen at a time. So if you put 4 videos, you can't put a subscribe link or a link back to your website. If you put a subscribe link and 3 videos, that's all you can put on there. So you have to kind of figure out what you want to have in there in order to make sure that you get the most out of it. So I like to put 2 videos and a subscribe and or a link back to the website. That's what I like to put into those end screens, and that works really well. Now going back to the cards, the same type of thing. When you upload your video, there's going to be a button for cards. You click that button, you can go in, you can upload a graphic. Now the graphic is, it doesn't look square, but it's actually a square graphic. So you go into Photoshop and make a 500 by 500 card. Maybe it's a coupon. Back a while ago when cards first came out, I made a whole bunch of templates for the cards that had like coupons for different types of businesses. So if you want to do $5 off this, you can make a coupon that does that. If you want to do call for a free estimate now, you can do that. Or if you want to put learn more or download this product or whatever it is you're doing, put that into the graphic, and then you're going to give that particular card a name. You're going to give it a call to action and whatever they call this. There's 2 lines you put in there. One's called the call to action, and the other one, I forget what they call it. Some other message in there. But both of them are basically calls to action. One will be the call to action that pops out of the eye icon. The other one will be underneath the image. So it's a little bit of text that goes underneath the image of the card itself inside that drawer. So you fill out that information. If you can link back to your website, you can choose to put that in there, or you can choose to put a video in there, and boom, you're all set and ready to go. And now in that video, people will be able to click to the other video, click to your website, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish with that. And those do drive traffic, especially if you make sure that people know there's an eye icon there. That will drive traffic. And like I said, we did some tests, and we got quite a few clicks. I did a test one time very specifically for. It was something silly. It was like it was an info video. I think it was about it was about an app that you could download for your phone. And it was a free app. So I just did a video about that app. And I said, click the eye icon here to click the card. And people did. And we got like 300 people that clicked through and downloaded the app. So we were able to track the number of clicks. And we got, like I said, about 300 people that clicked it in about a day or so. So they definitely can work. You just have to make sure that people know they're there. In a professional type of video, again, a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, make it classy looking, but just put that text up in the corner there that says, click here for our latest deal or something of that nature. And that will get people to take action, hopefully, at a pretty good clip. And again, on your mobile phone, the cool thing is that those show up underneath the video as cards. And so it's much easier for them to see it. They don't have to click on the eye icon for that to happen. And that makes things a little bit easier there. The end screens, again, the great thing about the end screens is the variety. The bad thing about the end screens is you now have to have people watch your entire video to even see it. And as we know, most videos drop off after the halfway mark pretty frequently. Very few people, if you've got a really good video, you might get 40%, 45% that watch all the way to the end. But for the most part, you're going to see you start out at 100 and it very quickly drops to 20 or 30% in the end that make it through. So that's the downside of the end screen, is that a lot of people don't make it that far. But you can do some very cool things with it. Again, annotations were a lot better. I actually did, when I was doing annotations, we actually did a training course inside of YouTube. It was a free training course, and at the end, I made a DVD-style menu where you could click on a whole bunch of the videos and go to the next one. Well, now you can't do that. You could put 4 and have people click on one of those 4 to the next ones, but you couldn't do a menu of 9. Click on one of the 9 images to learn the next lesson, which is not nearly as fun. That was a good thing to have, and unfortunately, it's
cool.
gone. But
that was cool. I remember when you did that. I remember that video, or just that graphic, thinking, ooh.
Yeah, we used to do it on everything. Every video we put out had a button on it, or buttons at the end, or just something that you could click on. And I used it all the time. If I did an affiliate video, I'd be like, hey, just click right here to to grab it right now, and that worked pretty darn well. And you can't really do that anymore, but you can still do the eye icons and get it that way. So
I think I was watching a video, and he did a survey, whoever he was, I don't remember. It was some hobby video, and he did a survey with the cards, and I was amazed with the functionality of that. So just pointing that out.
Yep.
I watch a lot of videos, I read a lot, I don't always retain everything I see.
Yeah, well, and even worse is most people don't do the stuff because it is an extra step. It's a little bit more work. But if you start doing it now, if you create that end screen, so like for instance on my videos, I put the end screen on most of them. Now, if you go to my channel right now, you're going to say, oh, look, none of these have end screens. Well, most of the newer ones do. Because I was pretty lazy with it too and didn't do it a lot of time. But I try to do it with every one of my videos now. And so I just came up with an end screen that I can put on any of my videos. And it's a picture of me pointing, to the side. And then I can put whatever I want. I can put the subscribe link. I can put a link back to a product. I can put a link to another video. It just depends on what I'm doing with that particular video. And it takes that extra step. You got to create that end screen. You got to put that end screen on your video before you export it. If you're going to use that video in other places, you now have to make a second version probably that doesn't have that end screen. So if you're going to upload it to Facebook, you need to save one without it, save one with it, put the one with it onto YouTube, then do all the work on the end screen. Cards, obviously, you can put on any video, so that doesn't really affect things unless you're going to do the trick where you say, hey, check this out, which again, you'd need to make 2 videos because otherwise the people on Facebook would be going, I can't figure out what to click on. So that's that's something you have to just kind of think about is if you're going to do this, you're probably going to have to make multiple versions of your video in order for that to work. So, But if you draw attention to that, which by the way, that's something that I'm terrible at, is in my videos, I don't often say, hey, click on the eye icon, and I don't often put the graphic on there. I need to start doing that a lot more often than I did before. But hopefully one day I would love to see YouTube come back with annotations, or better, I had my idea of what the annotations should be, and I wished YouTube would go with this instead, which is, what if, and this is fantasy booking here, so, don't listen to this. I would love to see YouTube reinstate the annotations, but instead of just making a hotspot or typing in some text, that you could actually add a graphic to your video. So literally upload a button and have that be your annotation. I would love to see them do something like that. Now, will they ever? Doubt it, but you never know. They've done cool things in the past, and they've added things and removed things before. I don't know if any of you remember the polls. They used to have polls that you could put in. I don't know whatever happened with those. They were there for a couple weeks, and then they never seemed to come back again. They were ugly as all get out, which is probably part of the reason, but they used to have that where in the middle of your video you could actually take a poll, and people could click on the answers to the poll, and they don't let you do that anymore. So, but that didn't last for very long at all. That was a very short period of time. But you never know. They may add something new in the future. YouTube, if you're listening, I'll pay for it. Make a paid version that allows us to do these kinds of things where we pay money. I'd pay money for that. Without even a second thought, I would pay a monthly fee to be able to, upload graphics as annotations onto a video, as long as it worked on mobile too. Because the annotations, that was the shocking thing. The annotations worked really well, even though it didn't work on mobile. It still did very well. But, if you were going to do something like that, you could still use them to run video ads and just, do a negative 100% on the mobile phones, so that only the ads would only show on the desktop. So, there you go. That is my spiel on cards and end screens. If you're not using them, you got to get in there and start using them. Very, very useful tools. And again, one of the great things about them is if you can drive people to your other videos at the end, that's going to build up your watch time. That's going to get you more of those minutes that you need. It's also going to help to rank your videos better. So all of these things will definitely help you out. Now, do not exclude the normal things you would do in exchange for this. So in your descriptions, you still need to have that link up there so that people can click on it. Because, most people miss these things anyway. And, heck, most people miss the link in the description, for goodness sakes. I used to get people who would watch my videos, scroll down past the description with the link right at the top of the description, scroll past that to go down to the comments to go, hey, how do I click, what's the link for this? Well, there was an annotation on the page, and you scrolled past the link in the description, which was right at the top. So people miss these things. So, and that's why if you ever watch a lot of my videos, I often say, click the link right below this video, because people will skip that kind of stuff. And that works for everything, because if I put that on a web page, well, then I have a button below the video anyway. So it's still click the link below. And that takes people there. So, don't be afraid to tell people what to do in your videos. If you're going to be, obviously there are certain videos that don't fall into that category. But if you've got a video where you're talking to your audience more, it's more casual, definitely tell people to subscribe. Tell people to click that eye icon in the corner. Tell people to click the link in the description below. Tell people to click the link in the end screen. Tell people to watch another video. All of these things can be a huge help when it comes to generating more views, more clicks, more video views of different videos. All of these things can work hand in hand, and they're going to help you to really boost up your channel and your videos at the same time. So, there you go. That is YouTube cards and end screens. We love them.
Cool.
We love them.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
good stuff, Ray. Yeah, thanks for getting us
Indeed.
all updated. Yeah.
Indeed.
Very, very good. And Thumbnail Blaster helped bring the show to us today.
Thumbnail Blaster did indeed help to bring and make this show possible, because it's awesome. Thumbnail Blaster allows you to create really cool thumbnails very, very easily. You don't really need to have things like Photoshop or PowerPoint or any of those types of things. You can literally open up Thumbnail Blaster, go inside, pick a template you like, add your text to make sure it's your text, maybe change the picture of the model that's in there with your picture, which is what I do, which is probably a downgrade, but that's okay. We do that, you put yourself in there, and now you've got a beautiful thumbnail. Then you hit publish, and boom, that thumbnail automatically gets onto that video. And like Steve mentioned at the beginning, if you've got a client or you've got a channel with a whole bunch of videos that all need thumbnails, you can sit there and do thumbnail after thumbnail after thumbnail after thumbnail and do it fairly quickly. We had to do that with a lot. I mean, I've done a bazillion thumbnails over the last couple of weeks for different clients who had 100 or 200 videos on there. All of our lawyer clients, I'm going through each of those channels and doing thumbnails for the entire channel. And that doing that manually, even if I was in Photoshop, making a little change, saving, making a little change, saving, it's still going to be at least twice the amount of time to do that manually than it is to do it right from Thumbnail Blaster. Because in Thumbnail Blaster, I just go next, 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 next.
Yeah, not to mention it's dang near impossible to do in YouTube anyhow, even if you got the JPEG. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because it's
YouTube's a little quirky lately on a lot of those things, but Thumbnail Blaster will help you out. If you need to check that out, raythevideoguy.com/thumbnail blaster, all one word. But yeah, the quirkiness of YouTube, that's a big deal. I've had a lot of issues. Yesterday, again, this is about the 5th time in the last couple of weeks that this has happened to me. I've uploaded a video, and I used to always upload my videos and make them either private or unlisted when I'm uploading them, because otherwise it would automatically put it out there. But nowadays, when you upload a video, it doesn't, even if it's on public, it doesn't go public until you hit that publish button at the top. But the problem that I've had lately, and I've seen this numerous times, especially if I'm going to upload a video and I want it to be unlisted. So a lot of times I do review videos and I keep them unlisted because the video itself is really just for a web page or whatever. The problem that I've found is I set it up as unlisted, I save it, it says it's unlisted, and I find out later it's set at private. And I thought I did it, the one time I was like, oh, how did I do that? What an idiot. I put it on private, huh? Well, then it did it again, and then I'm like purposely watching to make sure, okay, this is definitely unlisted. It says unlisted, and sure enough, private. So that's I don't know. Yeah, and it's happened quite a bit. I've had a lot of those weird, quirky things happen lately. So it's they're going through some sort of changes. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's how it is in the world of YouTube.
The old interface, even though they give you the Creator Studio Classic, a lot of the functions don't work in it anymore, and you got to find it in the new and stuff.
Yeah, and I still struggle finding some of the things I'm looking for in the YouTube Studio, which you think I wouldn't by now because I'm in the studio all the time. But there are certain things that we don't use every day. Unless I've got a channel that I've never used before, there's a lot of the tools in there that once they're set up, you don't go back to them. So then when I have to go back to them again, I'm like, I can't remember where in this new YouTube Studio it is because they hide things. You go to other and then it's drop downs and it's like, where do I put the icon again? I can't find it. So I always just go back to the Creator Studio and just do it there because it's so much quicker and easier.
I think there are certain things that are not in the beta. I can't.
There are, because there are certain things that when you go to do them, it'll load the old interface by default anyway. So it'll literally go back.
Then I can prove it. Yeah, I can prove it. Yeah, so I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I always kind of figure it out, and worst comes to worst, I got TubeBuddy, but oh man.
Well, and I do like the new studio in a lot of ways, but it is tough to find certain things. And the one thing that's a big downside is I like to be able to see my descriptions. And in the new YouTube Studio beta, you only see a small window with a little tiny bit of your description in there, and you have to scroll through. I used to take that window and stretch it so I could see most of it, at a glance, and so I can't do that anymore, which kind of is a little maddening. But I'm sure they'll figure it out. I'm sure it'll be good in the end. We love YouTube. Don't ban us.
Yes. Yeah, please don't ban us.
So,
all right.
Well, with that, again, you need to make thumbnails. Thumbnail Blaster, raythevideoguy.com/thumbnail blaster. Check it out. Got any questions? Mail, hate, whatever you want to send us, bombs, do it now. Send it on over to us on Facebook or email us or do whatever you need to reach out. Let us know what you think about what we said. Let us know what you think about the show. And heck, if you're on Facebook and you're watching this, or if you're watching this somewhere else, go to Facebook, go to GoVMM, go to the Video Marketing Madness Facebook page. Let us know what you would like to see in future shows as well, because we're always looking for new topics that we can discuss. And if you've got one that you want to hear, let us know. We'll be glad to look into it and see if it makes a good episode, and we'll do that in the future. So there you go.
Groovy.
All right, with that, Steve, are we ready to hear that funky music again?
Let's hear it. Let's hear it one more time.
It comes.
He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy.
Woo. Okay. Oh, there we go. Now we're